Tonight's species is mullet, shrimp, threadfins, and many more. They also come in a variety of shapes and sizes. Always remember that you need to match the hatch. Tonight, it's all about the bait here on the Florida Insider Fishing Report.
Welcome to the Florida Insider Fishing Report, presented by Yamaha.
You're watching the Florida Insider Fishing Report, and this week we are talking about one of the most important parts of fishing, and that is bait. Whether it's artificial or live, the presentation and ability to match the hatch, as Rick said, is key in getting you that species and bite of a lifetime, right, Rick?
Absolutely, and you know, the other thing that's so cool is that I think one of the baits that's my certain favorite is the pinfish. Tremendously underrated. But you know why I like him, Brie?
Why?
Is because 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in the state of Florida, he's always number 2. He can always be accessed. You know, you have shrimp runs, then you have mullet runs, you have crabs, but guess what? No, the pinfish, he's always available.
He's always there for you.
That's right. Pinfish. He's my man.
Oh, all right. Well, we also have a special guest joining Dave at the workbench today who's covering all things bait, and that is Ray Rocher. Dave, do you have your questions ready?
He's always there for me.
He's always there
always
for you.
there for
He's
me.
Dave's pinfish.
Especially when it comes to me talking about bait, man. He's saving my life.
Oh.
So we're going to be talking about using sabikis to catch
That's
live baits,
so
right?
Sweet.
Ouch. Yeah, exactly.
Did you say ouch? Ouch.
Yeah.
It's Dave's pinfish. I love it. All right, well, let's start our bait fest in the R&R Tackle Southeast region, where there's bait just about everywhere you look. So, Captain Jimbo, give us the 411.
You got it. Hey, Brie, Rick, Dave, and Ray. You know, we have such great fishing here in the Southeast region because of the abundance of bait that we have, and that's what everything eats, all these big fish that we like to catch. A block of chum, couple packs of R&R sabikis, a cast net, or a pocket full of cash. That's all you need to fill that live well. Now, there's plenty of great spots to catch bait throughout the region. Blue Heron Bridge in Lake Worth, any of the fishing piers along the coast, and then around all of the inlets, navigational markers and buoys, and also around the numerous bait patches. Now, sabikis, those are the preferred method for catching threadfin herrings, pilchards, goggle eyes, sardines, cigar minnows, blue runners, speedos, ballyhoo, and pinfish. And the chum will usually bring those baits pretty up to the boat pretty quickly. Now, about the only time we use a cast net is when we find a big school of pilchards, or if we're trying to get some mullet. And we also occasionally will throw them on the ballyhoo, but they don't live very good, the ballyhoos that you catch in the net. Now, you want to, the hook and line baits will definitely keep in much better shape than those cast netted baits. And you want to use a dehooker that'll help keep them lively. You try not to touch those baits. Also, that dehooker will help save your hands from those sabiki hooks. Now, aboard the Thomas Flyer, we like to use R&R Tackle sabikis in sizes from number 4 to number 7. And we found that these rigs work well with just about any kind of bait fish. And, of course, a good-sized bait well with lots of water flow will help keep those baits alive for days. And I also like to keep a couple of fresh bonita in the cooler, and we can use those for cut bait if we hit a school of dolphin, or we can cut strips out of them to troll with. Now, lately, the bait fishing has been a little more work, and a lot more work for less bait than usual, but we've been through these phases plenty of times in the past, so they'll show up again hopefully tomorrow. Now, staying inshore, last week we had some really great weather, and the bonefish and permit fishing was really good. Now, we got a lot of wind the last couple of days. If we can get a break with this windy weather, those fish are still going to be out there. Captain Joe Gonzalez, he's been finding bonefish up to 10 pounds on the Oceanside flats off Sands and Elliott Key. He's been looking for hard bottom flats in 2.5 to 3 feet of water and doing best on the top of the outgoing tide. Captain Joey's been using crab pattern flies and small silver dollar sized blue crabs, but live shrimp or brown or pink skimmer jigs, those will also get you some bites. Now look for activity on the flats like stingrays, sharks, even turtles cruising around. Those are all good signs of active flats. That's where your bonefish and permit are going to be. And those permit, they've been on the Oceanside flats from Ragged Keys to Caesars Creek over hard bottom flats with good current. And he's been using the live crabs and crab pattern flies. Now moving offshore, with all the bait we just caught, our best offshore fishing has been along the edge of the Gulf Stream, where we've been catching some nice blackfin tunas in depths anywhere from 120 to 250 feet of water. Best baits have been live sardines, herrings, and goggle eyes. You want to fish them under the kite, or you can flatline those baits using 30 to 40 pound fluorocarbon leaders, 4.0 to 6.0 circle or J hooks. Now, most of the blackfins have been in the 25 to 30 pound range, so they've been really nice sized ones. They've been biting throughout the day, but first thing in the morning and then late in the afternoon from about 3 o'clock until sunset, that's when they're going to bite the best. And if you can find enough bait to live chum with, that'll definitely help to bring those fish up. Now, I got a photo here. These are some good customers of mine from Ken Cook Carpentry. They're out of Fort Myers. We had a nice catch of tunas and kingfish with them last week.
Yeah, I'd say.
Now, also, along with those tunas in the same depths have been a good amount of sailfish. You want to look for areas of blue water and north current. That's where it's going to be the most productive. Sails have been biting on live herrings, pilchards, and goggle eyes. We've been using the same rigs as for the tuna, which is the light fluoro leaders and circle hooks. And just like the tunas, best bite has been late in the afternoon, and those live trummers will also help get those sails fired up.
All right, thank you so much, Jimbo. Great report from the R&R Southeast region. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the hot spots. Jimbo says inshore, get on the flats early and cast live crabs or shrimp to the tailing bonefish or permit, and then offshore, look for the blackfin tunas, sailfish, kingfish, fish with live baits along the edge of the Gulf Stream, Bree.
And Jimbo says it's just been okay. See those tunas.
Man, there was enough sushi there to feed us for a month.
Right?
Right?
Shoot. All right, we're reeling in that.
Pretty
soon, I know. All right, we're reeling in the Alvey Reels Northeast region, and Captain Tommy Derringer is talking to us about all things bait. So, Tommy, let's hear it.
All things bait and Brie. I mean, I do feel sorry for you. You can't eat that raw fish right now. It's a bummer, man. That tuna looks so good. But guys, you know what? We have all kinds of live bait here in the Alvey Sidecast Reels Northeast region. You know, our year-round staples for inshore live bait, that's going to be shrimp and mud minnows. And, you know, just about all of our inshore game fish eat one or the other or both of those. Now, a 1/4 ounce jig head with either of those baits is going to be the go-to for redfish, trout, and flounder pretty much year-round. And there's so many different baits to talk about offshore. But, you know, right now, frozen sardines or cigar minnows are going to get a lot of use on the bottom for all kinds of snapper and grouper. And, of course, the guys trolling, they're going to be using some ballyhoo. Now, as we head into the summer months, the one bait that will get a bunch of attention in my region is the menhaden, better known around here as a pogie. You know, it's always a good bet to fill the live well with some pogies if you're going to be fishing anywhere off the beach or offshore, or heck, even in the inlets or inshore. You know, the pogies are a really versatile bait. You can fish them on the bottom, up top. You can troll them. They also make for some awesome cut bait, both inshore and out there along the beach. You know, the tarpon and the kingfish, they're going to be feeding on those guys big time in the surf all summer long, and there's always some great action around those big pods of pogies. Now, on the inshore side of things, the finger mullet, they've been showing up in better numbers, and all of our inshore species here, they're getting fired up to eat those mullet. Live finger mullet, it's going to be hard to beat from about now through all of summer, even into the fall, and cut mullet is also a great bait for redfish through the summer months when our water's real murky. Redfish love a stinky piece of cut mullet next to an oyster bar. Now, if you're fishing inshore over the next couple of months, don't forget your cast net, because having some of those mullet in the live well, it's going to come in very, very handy. Now, going offshore, guys, it's been rough offshore all week. Like Jimbo was talking about, it's been windy with the strong wind out of the east, so not a whole lot of people have made it offshore. So I thought we'd talk a little bit about the mangrove snapper fishing that we have coming up. You know, over the next couple of months, especially around the full and new moons, we have that full moon middle of next week, those mangrove snapper are going to be schooled up as they start to spawn. Reefs and wrecks in that 100-foot plus range is going to be holding those fish and chumming them up with cut sardines. That's going to be one of the go-to methods, but you can also just catch them by just bottom fishing. Now, we get some monster mangoes in my region, and I've got a picture. It's a really good example of those big old fish. Captain David Carruthers sent me this picture of a couple of huge mangoes that they caught out of Ponce Inlet. How about those suckers?
Man, I'd be smiling like that too if I caught two like that, Tommy.
That's right, man. All right, moving inshore, you know, we've got a good low tide this weekend around midday, and we've been doing well catching redfish on that lower water in the creeks in St. Augustine using that go-to mud minnow pinned on a 1/4 ounce jig head. But, I also spoke to Captain Jake Bates from Muy Grande Charters. Tells me he's been on a great bite on the higher tide stage up in Fernandina in areas like Tiger Basin and St. Joseph's Creek. Now, Jake says that the water's been clean enough to sight fish on that higher tide in certain areas. And he's finding those redfish, they're actually schooling up a little bit up in the grass in the Spartina, and his clients have been catching them on fly or on saltwater assassin paddle tails. Now, Captain Jake says this is one of his favorite times of year to fish that Fernandina Amelia Island area, as there tends to be some really big redfish up shallow. And speaking of big fish up shallow, I have another picture here. Captain Jake sent me this picture of a big redfish his client Art Mowry caught using the long rod. It's a nice fish.
All right. What else you got for us this week, Tom?
Snook, man. We've got a good snook bite happening right now, especially in the south end of the region, although there's been some up north too. But the topwater bite in and around the Tomoka Basin has been really good this past week, even with all this wind blowing. Getting out right at or even before sunup, that wind's been a little lighter early, or again at dusk, that's been the key. Those snook, they're feeding during those lower light conditions like they tend to do. Now, the Berkeley Driftwalker has been working really well. That plug, it mimics a mullet, but also kind of looks like a needlefish, which is another bait fish those snook like to snack on. Now, I spoke to my buddy, Robbie Goodwin, who fishes the south end of the region. He tells me the docks from High Bridge all the way up to Palm Coast, they've also been holding some nice snook. A free-lined live shrimp on a 3/0 Eagle Claw circle hook. That's been working well for those dock snook. Just set up current of the dock, open your bail, let that shrimp free line under the dock. That's where you're gonna find those snook. Average size of those fish has been about 2 to 5 pounds, but there's some bigger ones mixed in. And speaking of bigger snook, I got one last picture. Robbie Goodwin sent me this picture of his big snook that he caught under one of those Palm Coast docks.
That for sure is not a 2 to 5 pounder. He had to hold on that one, don't you think, Brie?
That's a good one for around here.
All right, Tommy, thank you so much. Great report from the Alvey Northeast region. We're gonna go ahead and take a look at the strike zone hotspots. He says inshore, snook in and around the Tomoka Basin at first light. Use the Berkeley Driftwalker topwater, also free-line shrimp under the docks along the ICW from Ormond Beach to Palm Coast. And then offshore, look for those mangrove snapper to start up to school on the offshore reefs. And then the wrecks, don't forget them on the upcoming full moon throughout the region. Those snappers.
Nia came in while I was writing the show this morning and she saw that picture. She goes, "Mommy, he has 2 big fish." I said, "Good, we're counting fish now."
Nice.
That is my dream.
Keep
All right,
going.
coming up, we're throwing our cast nets into the Startron Central West region and then over to the CCA workbench for Academy Sports Rigs and Techniques to see what we're learning with Dave and Ray. Got your pinfish ready, Dave?
I don't, but Ray's going to tell us what
Rake's your
sabiki
pinfish.
means in Japanese.
Ooh.
What does it mean?
Ouch.
That's what I thought.
Ouch. Well, that's appropriate. We'll be back. Wait, is that a joke?
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Yamaha. Reliability starts here. Contender Boats, always in the game. Fenwick. SiriusXM Marine. Weather, fishing mapping, entertainment. Penn. Let the battle begin. Stiffy, innovators in shallow water performance. And Daiquiri Deck, Sarasota's favorite place to meet.
Reliability. Yamaha is known for it. And it's something boaters value, because these days, few things are built to last. When we find something that is, we hold on to friendships, traditions, outboards. Because every second on the water is sacred. If you count on having this time, you need an outboard you can count on to power it. That's why boaters choose Yamaha for the long run, for life. Because reliability starts here.
What started in the flats and bays has migrated offshore. GPS-guided trolling motor technology has moved to boats in the 35-plus foot class and allowed anchoring capabilities on most center consoles in any depth of water. From snook and redfish inshore to grouper and swordfish way out deep, Rodan Marine Systems has a GPS anchor to hold your vessel on location. Set it, forget it, catch more fish.
Every year, Noble Air Charter flies over 20,000 outdoorsmen and families just like you economically to over 300 Bahamian and Florida destinations. Noble Air Charter makes a substantial investment improving booking and aircraft route planning to create the most affordable and economical flight possible. And tomorrow, Noble Air's team will rise to the challenge to raise the bar yet again.
Well, we're here at the Academy Sports and Outdoors, Rigs and Techniques at the CCA Workbench, and we're going to talk a little bit about bait fishing.
Great.
Because you spend all your time bait fishing down here just about in South Florida, and you know a lot about taking care of them, which is very important. So when you're out trying to catch bait, what's your preferred method and why?
Well, cast nets are always, as Jimbo said, the quickest way to catch bait, but that works well when you're catching bait for the day.
Right.
But we do a lot of fishing in tournaments and, of course, trying to put bait away for a windy day when maybe it's not so easy to catch, and that's why we use sabikis.
And you put them in pens, right?
Yep.
As you can feed them. And
Yep.
How long do you feed them for?
Well, you know, we try not to get too attached. We don't name them.
Right.
Months.
And they've become super baits.
Yeah.
And that's why you win all those tournaments, because you
Yeah.
got super giant baits right
We
there.
talk to
swimming in them.
Yeah.
Exactly. So you've developed a whole line of sabiki rigs, and I noticed we got some here. But what are the differences between, you know, some of these have red and green, and what's the difference?
Certain baits like color, like a Manhattan. You remember when we were kids, they'd eat a red ribbon rig.
Right.
So that's kind of good evidence that red is their attractive color. Sardines, ballyhoo like red, but like herring, greenies like green. So I'll always start out with this rig, an RGF4,
Right.
or an RGF6, depending on the size of the bait. And that's kind of a starter rig. You get into a mark on your recorder, you drop down, you might be surprised. It might be a different species of bait than you expected. But if you have both colors working for you, you're ready.
You got the searcher going.
That's it.
I also noticed you got a little marker on there, SDH and MDH. What does that mean?
That's really related to the dehooker. Small dehooker, medium dehooker.
Because we never want to touch these baits, do we?
Not if we're going to try to keep them for any length of time or fish tournaments with them. So when you're trying to dehook these baits, if you use a fat wire, it could damage their mouth. And in the bait pen, they wouldn't be able to eat and sustain themselves. So on a small rig, we use a small, thin dehooker. But like on that white rig there, the
big fat
for
one.
like hardtails, you need a bigger dehooker, stronger wire, and you can get away with a little bit thicker wire.
I got you. So, you know, when you are sitting there getting ready to put these things on, what kind of weight are you using?
Well, we use 3 different sizes of weight, small, medium, large. Believe it or not, when you use too light of a weight, if you've ever had 2 hooks hooked together,
Yeah.
that's because your weight was too light, 2 fish swam together, and then when you wind against the weight, they dehook. Because really,
Right.
that works just like a dehooker. 2 hooks are hooked rigid, and the bait shakes his head and comes right off. So now you just lost 2 baits.
I see you also have that float there. What's that about?
That's a little top secret ballyhoo
Let
rig.
me hold it there.
Yeah.
So, top secret ballyhoo
Well,
rig.
not so secret now, but I use it when I'm trying to catch ballyhoo on the surface. When you chum ballyhoo, they're right on top.
That probably disappears on my shirt, doesn't
Yes,
it?
it does. Should have got a different color.
Gotcha.
But anyways, that keeps your rig shallow. And believe it or not, most people don't know this, but a ballyhoo will eat a sabiki all day long. But you got to
I did not know that.
You need 2 things. You need it to stay on the surface, and you need a little weight to pull against, because ballyhoo go crazy when you hook them. And without that weight, if you just put the float on, it'll just tangle up.
Do you ever
and
tip any
You
of
can.
these things?
You can. But if they're biting good enough, we don't waste the time doing it.
You don't even do that, huh?
Yep.
Well, one of the problems I always have is trying to get them out of the pack without tangling myself into the pile of pain that you were talking about before. So how do you get those things out?
So we start out with if you look at the back of most rigs, there's a snap swivel with the loop on it to hook the weight.
Right.
And then you've got a regular swivel. We just take the snap swivel, hook our rod to that.
Look at that.
And so now,
and keep pulling it out.
We'll keep pulling it out. And now what you've done is 2 things. I know this sounds a little picky, but if you take the cellophane off the paper, sometimes it blows over. We don't like that. This keeps you from littering. Throw it in the garbage.
Right.
And then you have your snap swivel, hook your weight on. That's why we do a little bit of mono. Just makes it an easy way to hook on your weight.
And it also allows you to grab the weight easier once you're starting to take these off, right?
Gives you a little more distance away from the hooks.
Right. Because that's what you do when you get this thing up to the boat and you're wanting to take these baits off. You use the hooker, the de-hooker, and you just hold it over the, see, these things hook everything.
Yeah, that's their job. They're just doing their job.
So then you just hold this over the live well and go down with the
So here's the
bing,
little tip.
bing, bing, bing.
We got the bait, let go.
All right.
Got the bait on. When we get the bait near the surface, lift the rod straight up, grab the weight, horizontal, baits are off the main line.
Mate can go down and bing, bing, bing.
Yeah, and then you take them off.
All
That's
right.
it. Tip of the week.
Well, I see also you have this you got these dip nets real quick. What's the difference? We got about 30 seconds to figure out what these things are for.
Well, we have different nets for different situations. If I'm going to put bait for any length of time in a bait pen, we use a wet net. It holds a little bit of water when you transfer the baits out of your boat.
Keeps them from freaking out because they're still wet?
They're still wet. And then like when you're fishing for the day, we just use a fine mesh net. The new net has an open pattern, goes through the water a little easier.
Get them out easy without hurting them.
Yep.
Well, thanks, man. Those are all good tips. I hope somebody listened to them.
All right, the Startron Central West region is now up, and I know bait talk makes Captain Jeff Page all warm and fuzzy inside. Am I right, Rick?
Absolutely.
It really does. All right, so let's have a sit-down Page. Let's talk about bait.
All right, I just got to give a tip of the cap to Chachi, Captain Ray. He is smooth as butter.
All right, tell us, Paige. Let's
Paige.
go.
He's all warm and fuzzy already. I told you.
Rick, from visiting our region so many times, a shortage of bait is one thing we don't have. You know, in our year-round fishery, the Skyway Bridge is probably a good starting point because it will always hold threadfins, pilchards, pinfish, grunts, and you can probably trap up some crabs around the pilings as well. And then, you know, so those are all heavy leaded cast nets to throw around bridges. But when you get on the grass flats, is most of the place where I catch my bait. Sometimes you can just throw your net, what we call rodeo or cowboy style. Other times you'll want to put your power poles down and chum the bait to your boat, and it'll start dimpling, and you'll see it flashing 9 times out of 10. And it can be pilchards, it can be pinfish, it can be a mixture. But the bottom line is to have a good system with your live well already running and a tub to put your bait in, or you just put your net right in your live well and dump it. The other way we like to catch bait in our region here is, of course, with sabikis. I heard Dave mentioning that, and Ray has some really good sabikis. I got some from him last year. The key to a sabiki is once you've used it, clip that thing off and put it away. Don't leave it in your gunnel of your boat, because it will catch more than just bait. It'll snag you when you walk by it. I've snagged I don't know how many times. And most important, the trapping or dip netting of crabs and shrimp in the inlets. Any docks, any bridges where that tide rushes out, especially where there's a bunch of grass flats up current, you're going to get a good flush of crabs and shrimp on that afternoon hill tide, which occurs on the new moon and the full moon. And you can do that with a long-handled dip net. I've got 3 photos. Oh, I know one more thing. I've got a gentleman that sells bait for those who can't cast net them. In the Manatee River is Matt Bauer, 941 Bait Company. And then there's a lot of little bait stands on the water. In Sarasota Bay, Hart's Landing is probably the most well-known one. Been there for 40, 50 years. Maybe longer, and they have shrimp, crabs, and snacks and drinks. And I've got 3 bait photos tonight. One of my good friend Gary Huffman throwing a big heavy cast net out of his tuna breath boat. And then I've got another one of a live well full of bait. And then, of course, I've got Matt Bauer, 941 Bait Co. And he works real hard for people that won't ever be able to catch a piece of bait. My other species, inshore tarpon. Tarpon fishing's gone full force with our fish up and down the entire region, Rick, feeding on crabs as well as threadfin herring. And the neat thing is you can cork them or freeline them. And I found when the fish are staying down, believe it or not, the corked bait seems to work better because it keeps that bait in a consistent spot where when you just freeline a bait, you're not sure if it's up or down where it is. But with the cork, you know where that bait is. And a lot of times, Rick, I've seen the fish come up under the cork and flash the bait. The afternoon outgoing has been better than early morning. The water temperature is still down in the low 80s. I even saw 78 this morning. A lot of fish in Boca Grande Pass and a lot of fish up around Egmont Pass as well. My tarpon photo tonight is of Sarasota tarpon master Gene Rusty Driver with a fish I believe he entered in the Sarasota tournament. Moving offshore, blackfin tuna. You know our theme species from last week, Rick. Tuna remains strong, and on the days you're able to get out there to them, Guys are going there 18, 20 miles out, and they're being rewarded early in the morning with good blackfin action over structures holding bait, or if you're lucky enough to find a shrimp boat, cleaning up his catch overnight, you're going to catch some nice blackfins that way. It's good to have a live well full of pilchards and a few plugs to pull around. My last picture is a happy client with Captain Tim Noe of Offshore Ventures. And then my last species is red grouper, and that remains consistent for the guys that want to bring home some fillets to the dinner table. And there's a lot of people like that. And I've gotten good reports from down south. Captain Bo Johnson reports good red grouper action straight out Captiva Pass, Boca Grande, 110 to 150 feet of water. And the red snappers are showing up as well. And that starts on June something, early June. And then up north, Tim Noe reports good red grouper action on standard bottom ribs, frozen sardines, and live finfish. And that's all I got tonight, boys and girls.
All right, thank you so much, Paige. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the daiquiri deck hotspots from the Startron Central West region. He says that early in the morning, you want to go tarpon fishing the crab bite off of Minnesota Beach. Look for the laid up groups of tarpon tight to the shore. Use 7/0 circle hooks, and then offshore amberjacks. Good action on the ledge in the springs in 110 to 150 feet of water. Live pinfish, blue runners, pink vertical jigs are going to be your best bet for the AJ House of Pain.
Oh, hurts my back already.
That's not what hurting your back, I promise.
That's a baby, sorry. Well, we all know good things come to those who bait. Whether you're using live bait or artificials, any fish you catch this summer counts in the CCA Florida Star Competition presented by Yamaha. You could win some incredible prizes just by catching fish and submitting them in the Star Competition. And remember, it's not the biggest fish that wins, allowing anglers of all skill levels to participate. But you have to be registered to win your share of $500,000 in prizes and scholarships. So go to ccaflstar.com to register today. Trucking along over here on my left, we're talking about another CCA gem you can participate in and win this exact 1952 Chevy 3100 hot rod. And all you have to do is purchase raffle tickets at ccaflorida.org/hot rod. Thank you note to Rick, because, it's his truck.
Man.
I can't believe.
You need a breath?
No.
Boy, that was a long read.
No, my lungs are.
A lot of CCA stuff going on there.
I'm good. I need to practice my breathing these days. We've got more regions to explore, and up next, we're dropping our lines in the Real Legends Central East and Discover Crystal River Northwest regions. Plus, we are talking to our guest from Alto Equipment Company, so stay tuned, and we will be right back.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Power Pole, Total Boat Control. Berkeley, your fish, our science. Bajío, fresh eyes for a rich life. Blue Water Outriggers, everything for your outdoor adventure. R&R Tackle, from our tackle box to yours. Florida Coast Equipment, Florida's largest Kubota dealer. Visit one of our 4 locations or online at floridacoasteq.com. And Garmin, plot your paradise.
An entirely new species of extreme predator is moving offshore. The Yamaha 5.6-liter V8 XTO offshore outboard. Extreme big block thrust and power in the industry's first direct injection 4-stroke. Quiet, efficient, powerful, and proven Yamaha reliability. More than an outboard, it's a fully integrated power system. The all-new Yamaha V8 XTO offshore.
Real Legends Performance Outfitters. All you need to feel comfortable on the water all day. Keeps you cool, dry, and protected from the sun. Real Legends Performance Outfitters. Durable performance technology at an unbeatable value. Shop anytime. Go to reallegends.com to find a store near you. The only reel with over 100 years of heritage. Alvi Sidecast reels allow you to cast over 150 yards with up to 900 yards of capacity. Alvi's state-of-the-art drag and 22-inch retrieve rate per wine is perfect for any surf challenge. Alvi reels are manufactured to best practice standards and are in fact so robust that the Alvi also comes with a 10-year salt and sand warranty. For more information, go to alvius.com.
Sebastian from Alta Equipment Company. You know, Scott, I want to tell you that with 1,000 employees in all the locations and the 50 brands that you guys represent and sell, why don't you tell me a little bit about why Alta wants to be a sponsor of a fishing show?
Well, happy to be here, Rick. When we purchased Flagler Equipment about 15 months ago, we knew from day one that we wanted to get involved in the region and the state of Florida. And through our research, customers of ours are fans of yours, and we know that if they're digging, building, tearing down, or constructing, that when they do that during the week, on the weekend, they're going home hunting and fishing. So by combining all of our 50-some brands with all 60 of your brands that you see around this beautiful studio, together we can really make a difference.
You know, one of the things that I know is very dear to Alta's business model right now is certainly conservation. So why don't you tell us a little bit?
Yeah, we are. Through our great partners at Volvo, our major OEM in the earth-moving segment, we're a major player in the C43 project that's going on throughout the state of Florida. And along with the CCA, conservation is part of our DNA. And for us to be here, we want to be able to give back. And there's no better way for us to do it than be a partner with you, be a partner with the CCA, and to make sure that that C43 project runs on time like it needs to.
Well, we're certainly grateful. Tell everybody a little bit about how many pieces of equipment you have out there on the reservoir.
Yeah, I think we're up to almost 50 pieces right now, big articulated trucks, excavators, loaders. We got 7 locations throughout the state of Florida. We do everything from aerial to compact to earth moving, but C43 right now is really our pride and joy.
So, Scott, if somebody's interested in potentially renting a piece of equipment or buying a piece of equipment, where can they go?
Just give us a call at 844-GO-TO-ALTA or visit us online at www.alta.com.
I tell you, we're grateful for the relationship. We're looking forward to a lot of cool things to do with you guys. I want to show everybody the new centers that we're building right now.
Yes, sir.
So we got a lot of cool stuff to come, guys. But you know what, Brie, where are we going next?
All right, well, let's talk bait to get that bite in the Rio Legends Central East region, and Captain Jim Ross has got all the tips for a successful, lively weekend of catching. Let's hear it, Jim.
Well, Brie and Rick, bait is something that we all search for just about every time we go fishing. And here in my Rio Legends Central East region, we normally find pogies along the beaches that we use offshore and nearshore, for all of those species that we like to target. But I'll tell you, finding these bait fish just outside the surf has been a little bit challenging here. The normally reliable pogie pods that we've had over the last couple of years have become harder and harder to find. And a lot of guys are asking why. And it seems that there's a little bit of over-harvesting going on in that bait fish complex throughout the eastern seaboard right now. And so what we're having to do, because we don't have pogies as thick as we normally do, we're having to go to alternate species like pilchards, greenies, sardines, and croakers. Now, the thing about them is, yes, you can catch them with a net at times, but by far, in a way, the best way to get those baits is with an R&R tackle, fluorocarbon sabiki rig. That rig works absolutely fantastic on all of those bait fish, and that way you can go out there and catch your tarpon, grouper, dolphin, bull reds, snook, sharks, whatever it is that you like to go fish for. They will chomp down these style of baits as well as they do the pogies. So gathering them is well worth the effort. Now, speaking of offshore and catching fish that are chomping, yellowfin tuna right now remain really strong on the eastern side of the Gulf Stream when guys can get over there. They're trolling lures like and sometimes ballyhoo, but mainly just lures like high-speed type lures like Halco tremblers, brave little speedies, Yozuri bonitas, and of course those typical skirted baits that have hook sets in them. And they're finding the packs of birds with the feeding fish under them. And you want to see where the fish are busting. And the best thing to do is get your lines way out in front of where those fish are busting. I'm talking about 30, 40, 50 yards out in front, because a lot of times the fish that are out front are the bigger fish that will come up and eat those baits versus the smaller fish that are picking up the remnants from the back end of the school. Remember, you're going to get more strikes, and you're going to have 3 or 4, sometimes even 5 lines go down if you stay off the top of the school and don't push that school down. Timmy Radinger is one of the guys that's getting really, really good at yellowfin tuna fishing, and I have got a picture of him here with a nice one that he caught here recently out of our Central East region.
What a beautiful yellowfin, man. Thank you so much for sharing that picture with us. Hey, bub, let's go inshore.
Snook, buddy. The snook bite's on right now. If you're up in Edgewater, live shrimp, mud minnows, small croakers, pinfish, pigfish, just about anything that you can put on a hook right now seems to be catching them. Now, the one thing is you want to put just enough weight down to hold the bait fish near the bottom, but it seems like the more movement that they have, the less that they're pinned in place. It seems like they're working pretty good. So we're not really using knocker rigs. We're using more like a sliding sinker or fish finder rig. And like I said, the jetties are always a great place at Sebastian, at Canaveral, and at Ponce Inlet as well. So those croakers and mahars and pilchards are working really good there. I've got a picture of Rod Harding here with a snook that we caught actually using live pilchards at the Canaveral jetties here just this past, about 2 weeks ago now.
All right. What else you got? One more species.
And then finally, this one isn't one that we really talk about a whole lot, but Goliath grouper are getting more and more numerous. And what's really cool is anglers are encountering this fish more and more as they go to the inlets and go to some of our nearshore reefs and wrecks. So when you look at these large number of Goliaths that are moving into the inlets right now, you can target these fish and catch and release them, just like we do the big bull reds. Now, they'll eat just about anything that you want to throw at them. They'll eat, your bait fish. They'll eat small jacks. They'll eat a lot of other things too, so you have to kind of be careful with them. But most of the fish right now are in that 30 to 65 pound range. There are some that are well over 300 pound test. I do recommend tackling up for some of these larger fish, 60 to 100 pound main lines, and you can use about the same size leaders. They're not leader shy, but you do need to make sure that you've got a heavy enough tackle to stop them. And you have to be careful because sometimes, they'll come up and eat your big bull reds and your snook, and some of those bigger, 300 pounders are pretty voracious. So, they may even get a limited season on them. There's a little bit of a talk about that going on right now. So let's stay tuned and see what happens with that. But right now I'm going to show you guys and gals a picture of a Goliath grouper. We were snook fishing in Sebastian Inlet, and anybody can go to Sebastian Inlet and catch these fish right now by using slightly larger baits on a sliding sinker rig.
All right, thank you so much, Jim. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the Rodan Marine hotspots from the Central East region. He says inshore, snook on the docks from New Smyrna to Oak Hill. Use live shrimp, croakers, or pigfish on a split shot rig near with the pylons. And then offshore, hey, try tile fish 500 to 850 feet of water, squid, bonita, belly cut, ladyfish. Just about any natural bait will stay on the hook will work. Or don't forget, you can try fish bites. That's for sure gonna stay on the hook.
Lobster season, Goliath grouper season. We'll see, I guess, right?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
Have you ever aced one? Ate
what?
One? You ever ate one?
No.
Oh my God.
No,
So
I have
good.
not. Maybe in the future.
Good.
All right, it's time to stock up on some Real Legends with a buy one, get one, that's BOGO, for $1 for the entire family, now through May 25th at the Bell's stores. So head to reallegends.com to find a location near you. And Rick, Real Legends has really put a lot of thought into their clothing functionality, and there's pretty much a style and color out there for everybody. So if you like what we're wearing or what we wear on the show, you can always text Insider to 97108 for a link to reallegends.com where you'll find these styles and many, many more. All right, we're matching the hatch in the Discover Crystal River Northwest region, and Captain Jeff Hageman is on the line to tell us our options. Go for it, Hag.
As you guys know, catching bait's one of the most important parts of your day when starting your fishing trip. Having the right bait to target the right species you're after is probably one of the most important parts of your day and probably the hardest part of your day. Baits, there's several species of baits we use commonly in my region. Shrimp, pinfish, scaled sardines, threadfin herring, Spanish sardines, mullet are the most common. Catching bait can be its own challenge. You can start your day with either a cast net or going to the local bait shop and buying some of these baits is available too. If you haven't thrown a cast net before, an 8 to 12 foot net, 3/8 mesh is probably one of the most common out there, and a little practice in the backyard before you get out there on the water never hurts. Sardines can be caught on the grass flats, bridges, piers. Chumming them with a mixture of jack mackerel and fish meal will get them a little more concentrated and a little easier to catch in the net if you're on the grass flats. Using sabikis for R&R tackle makes a great sabiki. Catching thread fins, blue runners, you can jig them off the channel markers, hard bottom, pinfish and pigfish or grunts. You can set out traps for in the deeper grass flats or catch them on hook and line. Our past crabs usually show up on the outgoing tides in the summer months, on the new and the full moon, and you can dip those up if you're targeting tarpon or permit. So you can go out there and just with a dip net, scoop them off the surface in the evening tides. Moving offshore, the mangrove snapper bite in my region remains strong. Fish being caught as shallow as 10 feet and out to 70 feet of water over high relief structures right now. Rock piles, ledges, artificial reefs, and wrecks. A knocker rig has been the key to success with 20 to 30 pound fluorocarbon leaders and a 1/0 to 3/0 circle hook, depending on the size bait you're using, and a 1/2 ounce to a 3 ounce egg sinker as far as lead goes. Live shrimp or small sardines or small pinfish have been the ticket. Moving inshore, Captain Matt Klecker, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right, from Stars and Stripes Charters out of Ozella Keys Marina in Crystal River, says the redfish bite has picked up big time after that front that just passed through. He's playing right now on the outer St. Martin Keys during the top of the incoming tide, and he's throwing 2-inch chunks of cut mullet tied with 36 inches of 20-pound fluorocarbon leader and a 4/0 circle hook. And he says you want to target right now the backside of the mangrove islands where the current and the calm water meet and letting the bait roll out in the current. And I've got a great photo here of a nice Ozella redfish from Captain Matt.
Nice. All right, what else you got?
Captain Jason Lineberger of Ruthless Fishing Charters out of Tampa Bay reports the tarpon migration is in full swing right now. Thread fins and past crabs have been the bait of choice. You know, look for migrating fish on local beaches, passes in the early morning hours, and around the bridges, on the outgoing tides, and deep water grass flats throughout the middle of the day. And I've got a photo here of me with a nice West Coast tarpon.
Oh, look
Nice.
at you.
Look at you, Hag.
So happy.
Happy bays are here again. All right, Bud, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the Ozella Key Marina hotspots from the Northwest region. Hag says that this weekend you should go inshore, snook around the beaches and the passes, use pinfish or sardines on the outgoing tide. Make sure you use 30 to 50 pound diamond fluorocarbon leader, and then offshore, mangrove snappers on the high relief structure in 30 to 70 feet of water. Use cut sardines on a knocker rig, try an eagle claw, 2/0 circle hook. That should be the right size. What do you think, Brie?
All right, well, before we head to our Alta Equipment Company Keys region, we're checking out Taco Marine new products with Dave, and trust me, it'll be worth the bait.
Yes, it will. Look at that. That's
Wow.
hard. I called you limber before. This is pretty
disgusting.
limber here.
Dude,
Get your feet off the table. I'm going to throw up. We'll be back.
We're not eating here.
Gross.
thank God.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Have fun out there. Penn, let the battle begin. Alta Equipment Company, where uptime matters. Ameritrail, load, launch, relax. Rodan, set it, forget it, catch more fish. Discover Crystal River, Florida. Bass Assassin and Saltwater Assassin. Best lures, period. And Maverick Boat Group, makers of premium boat brands Maverick, Hughes, Pathfinder, and Cobia.
Yamaha's reputation for saltwater reliability is driven by the 4.2-liter V6 Offshore's 97% reliability and overall performance. Reimagined with new advantages like built-in digital electric steering for incredible responsiveness and exhaust rerouting for more powerful reverse thrust. The legacy of the reliable Yamaha 4.2-liter V6 continues, now more refined and capable than ever. Yamaha, reliability starts here.
Whether you like to ride the wind, find your secret cove, or reel them in, insider paradise. With GPS Map Series from Garmin.
It's one of the most ancient forms of hide-and-seek known to man. And nobody knows how to play the fishing game better than the backcountry guides and offshore captains of the Florida Keys and Key West. Ready or not, here.
Well, it's time for the Taco Marine new products here at the CCA Workbench. And you know
Yes,
what,
sir, it
Dave? We got them. So why don't we get to them?
Well, we're going to talk a little bit about the the TH Marine Wave Away, because it's, it's a GPS sonar screen cleaning kit. You got to worry about what you put on a lot of these screens nowadays. Little LCD screens, they all have kind of coatings and stuff on them that you don't want to mess up. So you don't want to use anything that's got ammonia or alcohol or any of that kind of stuff in it. And this doesn't. This will take off all the dust and the grime and the fingerprints from all the touch screening that you're doing. And it's specifically designed for LCD screens, and it stays where you put it. So when you spray it, it doesn't run all into your electronics, and you get that little 1.5 ounce bottle there when you get it, and the 9x9 inch microfiber screen cloth. Yeah, exactly, which will clean it'll clean your glasses, any kind of glass or screens. Yeah. And it also comes in a bigger size. They have a 2.7 ounce with a 12x12. So, and it all comes in a little velvet drawstring bag.
And where do we find it?
Very nice, TH Marine.
TH Marine.
Yeah, thmarine.com.
Okay.
All right, next we got the Pin Clash spinning reel over there. It's that 2000 model, which is when you pick that little joker up, it feels really solid. I was going to say heavy, but it's not really heavy. It just feels really solid for such a small reel, and I was very surprised by that. A lot of times you'll pick up a small spinning reel and it'll feel a little cheap, light and cheap, but this thing feels like you could catch a ginormous fish on it.
It's got a lot of drag too.
Yeah, it does.
It's amazing.
6.2 to 1 retrieve ratio. It really smokes. It's a great inshore reel. It's got a CNC gearing in it, HT100 drag system, carbon fiber drags. It's got a hydrophobic line roller, right here, which, keeps the salt, and, once water gets on there, it kind of expels it and keeps it off of it. It's got a nice clutch system, really good weatherproof, waterproof just about. It's really good. Level line, a spool, very slow oscillating, so it lays your line on there perfect, and it comes in 1,000 to 5,000 sizes. So
great inshore reel.
Yep, good thing for anything like that.
All right.
Next, we got some Salt Donkey.
Salt Donkey.
Hand painted jigs. Yeah, these were made for sheephead. They got them up there at Strike Zone in Jacksonville. He gave me these and told me to get them on here because he's been selling a lot of them to the sheephead guys. And what's really good about
perfect for a crab.
It's made for putting a crab on there, and you can fish the different depths, easily with, they got a 1/4 ounce all the way up to a 1 ounce there, or a half ounce actually.
Ounce, yeah.
So, you can, actually goes all the way to 1 ounce.
1 ounce.
You can put all different kinds of crabs on there, and what it does is it allows you to keep constant contact with your bait. And a lot of times when you have a crab that's swimming around, and you put it on there without any weight at all, it's kind of hard to tell where he's at and how, and when you're getting a bite. But when you got a really good little jig on there, it's a good way to get them. It comes in 5 sizes, a 1/4 to 1 ounce, made in the USA. Salt Donkey Adventures on Facebook. You can go find those.
And the pin reel is pinfishing.com.
Pinfishing.com, yeah.
All right, so Dave, what do we got here, bud?
Well,
I saw your legs and all this.
Well, I've got one of these. We're putting these on because, the Coast Guard just made it mandatory that we wear a good, it's boating safety week, obviously, but this is a good thing to keep you from your kill switch on.
Okay.
So, I did actually a PSA one time with a Coast Guard. Told a horrible story about what happens when somebody falls out of the boat and the boat keeps going. You're in the water and that thing's going around and around. It eventually gets people and chops them all up. And you don't want to have that. And what this does is this allows you to wear around your ankle.
Correct.
So it's not getting
hands
in,
are free.
Your hands are free. It's not getting in your steering wheel. It's not messing around with your throttle, and it's way out of the way. It's down there on your ankle, and it's got a long enough leash on here that you can be standing up and driving your boat and not even have to worry about it. They also have one for the guys who are using a personal watercraft or a tiller handle. That's what this is for.
A lot smaller.
Yeah, and they also make one for a bass guy. Just, make sure you wear your kill switch lanyard, and that's the main thing. But this is a really nice one, lifeguardlanyard.com.
So as you mentioned it, it is Boating Safety Week, starts on the 22nd.
Right.
And it's also mandatory if you have a 26-foot vessel or smaller now, guys.
That's
you're
the new law.
required to wear your kill switch.
Yep, 3 horsepower or under.
Right.
So you got to wear one.
All right. Well, I know our co-host Brie is a lot more than 3 horsepower. So where are we going next, Brie?
Thank you, Rick.
You would be a 425 in my book, babe.
Thank you. That means more to me. All right, let's take a trip to the Alta Equipment Company Keys region and see what bait tips Captain Randy Tao has for us. Go for it, Randy.
Hey, good evening, fish fans. Here in the Alta Equipment region, we've got live bait in all different shapes and sizes and models, and it's super important whether you're going offshore, backcountry, whatever you're trying to catch. More than likely, you're going to use a bait for some applications. Now, the keys are situated where we have ocean fishing and we have bay fishing, and a lot of it transfers over to each other. But some of the bait that we use, like a cigar minnow or a Speedo on the ocean side, you're going to want to catch those hook and line. You're not really going to catch them very well throwing the cast net on Speedos. But the cigar minnows, you can certainly chum up and throw the net, or you can catch them on sabikis. I really like the R&R products that Ray Rocher makes with his line of bait rigs, and his sabikis are certainly what I use, and they're really diversified across the board. Goggle eyes, pilchards. He gets specific with fluorocarbon. So a lot of the bait you're going to catch, you're going to need either A, a bag of chum to get the fish attracted to you, or B, you're going to see birds diving. A lot of times these signs are key to get in the area where those birds are and make your throw. They might be on mullet, they might be on pilchards, but a lot of this stuff is usually done in the mornings, and that's how we start our day as we're going out to go fishing. Our live bait's pretty important because not all the tackle shops sell live bait. A few will sell crabs and shrimp and pinfish. That's pretty standard, but not many of them carry goggle eyes or pilchards and things like that. So bait catching is certainly important. If you want bait to last all day, catch them with your sabiki. If you're in a hurry, throw the cast net and keep on going. Now, when you're doing that with your live bait, right now the dolphin fishing has been pretty good, but here's what you're up against. There's a lot of scattered weeds throughout the whole region. From Key Largo to Marathon, there is just acres and acres of grass. Now, that doesn't mean you can't fish in the grass. You just got to know which way to go when you get in these weed areas, because if you troll the direction you want to go, you're going to have weeds on your bait and you're not going to be very effective. So you've got to pick an area. You've got to troll in between the weeds and look for your birds. You're always looking for debris. And one big tip that I can tell you, it's really important when you get around these weeds, look and see if there's any bait under them. A lot of times you might be fishing in dead water and it's worth going a little bit deeper. I've heard of guys catching fish in 400 feet, 600 feet, even out to 1,200 feet. So it depends if you're fishing out of Marathon or Key Largo. But dolphin fishing, you want to be prepared because sometimes you only get one shot at a nice group of fish and you want to have your tackle ready. And that's super important. I've got a photo of Kathy Rogers with her slammer dolphin she caught off a Marathon last weekend.
Go, Kathy.
Nice. Good job, Kathy. All right, let's go inshore, Big Poppy.
It's tarpon time, and, a lot of guys are tarpon fishing. The tarpon tournaments are getting ready to start. And really, most of the guys that I've been talking to are fly fishing, and they are really super grumpy right now with 25-mile-an-hour winds and overcast. But that's just part of it. We all get our turn in the barrel. There's plenty of fish migrating down the ocean side, which we really look forward to this time of year. Because if you haven't done it, it's a really cool sight to see these fish traveling down south from the north, and it's just an exciting thing when you throw a little tiny fly out there and a 6-foot fish eats it. It doesn't get any more exciting than that. And if you're a bait guy, whether it's a crab or a mullet, the bridges are still holding some good numbers of tarpon, and it doesn't seem like the tide has been as critical as the time of day. A lot of guys are going early, and a lot of guys are fishing late. We're kind of getting into that mode, and still live mullet up this way, and the crabs are working down to the Marathon area better. Captain Paulo Rodriguez with Slam Time Charters out of Marathon was telling me his tarpon fishing around the bridges have been pretty good on crabs, and he sent me a photo of Frankie Finn releasing a nice tarpon.
Nice.
30 seconds on the permit, bub.
The permit fishing right now has been good, but again, conditions are everything, and time is critical of being in that right place at the right time when that water is moving at the best possible movement it can have. They love current, and they love hard areas, rocky areas, and certainly some of these flats right now, the outside edges have some hard bottom on them, and you're going to find those permit, especially on the high tides, and have that crab ready or have a fly rod, and you're going to get the job done, just like Ed from Michigan with his first permit he caught in Florida Bay.
All right, bud. Great pictures this week. Thank you so much. It's time to take a look at the hot spots from the Alta Equipment Company, Florida Keys region inshore bonefish. Fish the incoming tide with the wind behind it for maximum water flow. You want to use fresh shrimp or small crabs to carry the scent down the flat. And then offshore, dolphin troll the rows of clean water to avoid the weeds on your baits or lures. Pay attention to the bait underneath the weeds and look for signs of life.
And don't forget to look for debris.
Debris, that's right.
I haven't said that in a while. All right, coinciding with the annual Hemingway Days celebration, it's time to sign up for the Key West Marlin Tournament, July 21st through the 24th in Key West. With $50,000 in guaranteed cash prizes, registration is limited to the first 75 boats, so head on over to keywestmarlin.com to secure your spot. All right, we're taking a quick break, but when we return, we're checking out the bait situation in the Garmin Panhandle and Real Legends Southwest regions. And remember to keep up with everything fishing in Florida. Make sure to head over to our website, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and to see new fishing adventures along with reports, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Captain Rick Murphy. We'll see you soon.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by StarTron, cures and prevents ethanol fuel problems. Albi Reels, a better way to fish. Berkeley, your fish, our science. CCA Florida, the voice of recreational anglers for over 35 years. Diamond Fishing Products, our reputation is on the line. Murphy's Law Sport Fishing. Book your trip today at murphyslawsportfishing.com. And Strike Zone Fishing.
For more than 20 years, anglers everywhere have come to know one thing, that nothing says no to fish bites. We are the Fish Bites Nation, and this is your invitation. So grab some fish bites and get busy casting, because you can't join the nation without doing the catching. Ask for Fish Bites or Fish Bites Fight Club lures, or visit fishbites.com.
Come explore untouched Florida, where you'll step into holy sea cow and fish pristine waters where you'll reel in, whoa! Come discover Crystal River with exciting adventures and incredible surprises everywhere. From exhilarating river adventures to scalloping in the Gulf to delicious fish to fork cuisine, this is the place where you can relax into Just a short drive from Tampa and Orlando is the amazing Discover Crystal River, Florida. Learn more at discovercrystalriverfl.com.
Service and reliability makes Alta Equipment the leader for all your construction equipment needs.
With 7 locations across Florida and preferred brands like Volvo, Toro, Tok, Avant, and Roadtech, Alta has the equipment to get the job done.
When I need equipment, I trust Alta.
From agriculture to landscape to construction, Alta has you covered. For sales, rentals, service, and parts, see your local Alta equipment dealer today or call them at 844-GO-TO-ALTA.
Join in the fun and reel in awesome in Crystal River and Homosassa during the family-friendly CCA Star Fishing Tournament. It's great for all ages and experience levels. Let our professional captains take you on fishing and scalloping adventures. Plus, make sure to stay longer to discover the soul of Florida here in Crystal River and Homosassa. Book your fishing and scalloping vacation now and save with midweek rates at hotels and resorts. Plan your getaway at discovercrystalriverfl.com.
Yeah.
I will be scalloping in July, which means I'm gonna be big.
Sea turtle
I'll be
alert.
looking at everybody scalloping.
If you're
I need
on
one
your
of those
back, you're going to look
grabbers.
like a sea turtle.
Okay. Is that what they look like?
Treading water.
All right, keep going with that. All right, well, let's jump right into
But
the
you my
deep
sea
with
turtle.
Captain Pat Deneen in the Garmin Panhandle region. Let's talk bait, Pat. Quick.
Hey, Brie, I tell you, Gulf side cigar minnows, herrings, thread fins, blue runners are primary baits used. All can be caught with a sabiki in or just outside of the inlets, particularly during that morning incoming tides. Use size 6 sabikis for the cigar minnows and herrings. For the blue runners, size it up a little bit with bigger hooks, main line and dropper lines. In the bay, a cast net is a primary way to catch bait. It's good to have at least 2 nets of different mesh, depending on the size of bait you're after. You're going to use either a 1/4 inch or a 3/8 inch mesh. 8-foot minimum radius, 10 foot's probably better. The tighter mesh works real well for small pilchards and menhaden. Use the larger mesh for the larger menhaden, spot minnows, mullets, and such. Menhaden are usually going to be back in the bayous or parts of the bay that have some freshwater influence, while the pilchards are on the grass and sand shallows, usually fairly close to the inlets. Then live shrimp, we don't really catch them up here, but they can be bought from most local tackle shops. They're great baits for pretty much every fish out there, but that's the problem. Even the smallest of fish will pick them apart, so I like to use minnows instead. Finally, a finfish trap set baited off the dock the night before fishing will ensure a mess of live baits in the morning, so at least you got something to start off with in the live well. And then staying inshore, the speckled trout fishing is still dominating the inshore scene. There's plenty of trout and some very nice ones being caught on live baits and lures throughout the panhandle. Look for grassy, sandy areas with deep water fairly nearby. The fish will be up on the grass early and late while falling off in that deeper water midday. Big Sabine and Santa Rosa Sound, the grass flats to the entrance of Horseshoe Bayou and Chattahoochee Bay, the flats south of Black's Island over in St. Joe Bay, all have that varying bottom depth that produces good trout fishing. Live chumming with small menhaden and then free lining a bait or fishing one under a cord. Extremely effective for getting the trout bite going. And there's a photo of a nice trout caught with Captain Troy Forbes at 38 Guide Service in eastern Chattahoochee Bay. And that's what he was doing, chumming with menhaden and then free lining baits.
Well, that's a good one there, Pat.
Yeah, it's a pretty trout. There's been some nice ones caught lately, Rick. Moving offshore, the Kings they've arrived in good numbers and some quality fish being included. They're being caught off the Gulf side piers. In fact, a 50-pounder was caught off the Panama City pier earlier this week, and also by boats slow trolling or drifting with live baits. Use the sabiki, like we just mentioned, to catch the cigar minnows and herrings, then slow troll them around the bait schools, the entrance buoys to the bays, and over to nearshore artificial and natural bottom structure. Fish your baits on a wire stinger rig where a single or treble hook holds the bait by the nose, and another treble hook is near its tail. The Kings are averaging about 12 pounds, but there are some bona fide smokers around, like that 50-pounder emission from the pier and quite a few in the 30-pound class. And then finally, offshore, sword fishing has been very consistent both day and night. Day or night, target them in 1,300 to 1,800 foot of water and pay attention to areas where the bottom has some variation to it. The current is 3D charting. Really shows some of those deep water edges and lumps, and it can pay off well for finding the right area to fish. Day or night, the baits are the same: skirted or naked jumbo squids, belly strips of bonita or dolphin, butterfly Spanish, ladyfish, or similar fish. Daytime, fish them close to the bottom, using a sacrificial weight to get down there. Nighttime, float baits near the surface, staggering baits throughout the water column. And always have a light source or two on your leader. The swordfish are running the full size gamut, so from small fish to jumbos, and quite a few 150 to 200 pound fish are being caught.
All right, thank you so much, Pat. Great report from the Garmin Panhandle region, but we're gonna take a look at the blue water outrigger hotspots. Inshore, he says, free line a large bait in the bayou or the canal mouths for big speckled trout. And then offshore, swordfish day or night between the spur and Petronius, which is the coolest wreck ever.
The footage of them pulling that swordfish over the boat is just like my face the whole time.
That's little Nicky Stanzik, man.
Insane.
Yeah, man. He
That's
catch him. He's a
insane.
swordfish
Ninja. All right, we're looking for some surface disturbance in the Real Legends Southwest region. What you doing over there?
In the mouth.
Okay. So let's get Captain Ronnie Houston on the line to talk bait to us and give us the bite forecast for the weekend ahead. Go for it, Ronnie.
Well, like always, it's a pleasure being here. You know, being that it's the start of spring, let's talk about trying to locate bait both for the inshore and offshore fishermen. Now, your pilchards, your thread fins, and your pinfish are going to be the most common, and you want to try to find these in clear water. Now, if you do, you're usually going to see them under the surface or flipping on top. Now, right now, your beaches all through the region are holding a variety of pilchards in sizes, some small up to big size, and they're holding presently. Now, your channel markers as well are also holding. If you don't see the bait on top, you want to try using your bottom finder. And I strongly suggest as a beginner, a 6 to 8 foot cast net would be easiest. Now, if you are trying to get up near a marker or a head pin and you don't feel comfortable being that you're learning to try to throw near the marker, you want to try chumming to draw the baits away from the marker. It might make it easier for you. But if not, your sabiki rigs, or what I like a lot is your gold hook rigs, homemade gold hook rigs, where I can space the hooks a little farther apart. That way when you get a bunch of baits on there, they're not tangling up. That's what works for me. Now, your artificial reefs and wrecks, structure, great places to hold bait on the offshore side, as well as bridge spans. Now, as we go further north from Sanibel to Stump Pass, most of your grass flats will be holding bait at times. And a lot of times, if the water's real clean and the sun's out, you don't have to chum, especially if the water's clean, and you'll see the pilchards and pinfish shining. Or you might want to look for some diving birds or groups of birds. They might not be diving, but floating in the area. That tells you the bait's not too far away. But I can tell you what, trying to find some of these structures, one of the simplest way to find most of the wrecks that generally hold bait would just simply Google wrecks, artificial reefs from Collier to Charlotte County, and they will be noted. You can chase out to them numbers and try some of the things I just mentioned. Now, on the offshore side, it's been a tough week, strong easterly winds, but it looks like towards the weekend, things are going to die down for guys to get out with your northeasterly winds. But just before the winds picked up, your Mangrove Lane snapper bite was good from Wiggins Pass to Boca Grande. Your depths have been 65 to 85 feet of water, working wrecks and ledges, and especially with this approach of the full moon next week. Obviously, we want to have moderate weather, chumming with a variety of baits. You can use simple box chum, or you can get some thread pins, cut them up, cut up some pilchards. Once you have those, flatlining or just enough weight to get them in the water column. Only chum is needed. Once you get the fish going, 2-0 Tokar circle hooks, strongly suggest 20 to 30 pound fluorocarbons. With this wind we've had over the week, water might be stirred up a little dirty. You might get away with 30 pound fluorocarbon. 8 pounds to quarter-ounce jig heads and a variety of small cut baits. And I got a prime example of a nice mangrove that was just recently caught before the blow while fishing with Captain Mike Avanon. Now, on the inshore side, with that blow we've had all week, got a good suggestion for you with the snook. There's been a great nighttime bite from Fort Myers Beach to Stump Pass, fishing most intercoastal docks, seawalls, bridge spans, and passes. Now, this is also setting up with the approach of the full moon for next week. Now, you want good moving water, but I can tell you right now, the last half of the outgoing to the first half of the incoming seems to be better as it draws away the fish from the structure, with being that the water is going to be lower. Live shrimp, pilchards, or artificial bass assassin shrimps, Papa Smurf, or the root beer. Also the bass assassin dye dappers, particularly in black shad or the shiner color. 8 ounce to quarter-ounce jig heads with a steady retrieve. And I got a prime example of a buddy not mine, Wes, up in the northern end of the region, with one of many nighttime snook he caught in the last week. Last species is going to be the redfish with the great mid-morning high tides this week. Round Key to Mormon Key on the outer Gulf Islands, especially in the area of Oyster Points, Oyster Bottom. Small groups of pilchards and roaming mullet along with blowdowns in Deadwood. Now, the early morning incoming in those areas, you want to try some topwater like the Berkeley Hijackers and Bone or Chrome. But I've been doing really good with snook and reds on that new Chapo 90 and Sexy Back. Now, once the water gets high, live pilchards, cut ladyfish, and mullet on knocker rigs, along with the 4-inch bass assassin shrimp, or something similar on a 1/4-ounce jig head. Got a prime example of some nice redfish recently caught in the last couple weeks and getting better while fishing with Captain Brian Sanders. Weather's looking good for the weekend with your northeasterly winds. I'd concentrate down south. No matter how hard the wind blows, you're going to find some protection.
All right, thank you so much, Ronnie. We're going to go and take a look at the Caddy Can hotspots from the Southwest region. Tarpon, Fort Myers Beach, to Stump Pass at the beaches and passes using live herring, pinfish, crabs, and 4 to 8-inch swim baits. And then offshore permit, the pike remains good. Fish the wrecks and artificial reefs throughout the entire region using those live crabs.
All right, Rick, we're casting into one more region, and that is the Fish Bites East region. So make sure you stick around and bait it out. We'll be right back here on the Florida Insider Fishing Report. Yep, I'm getting better.
Yep.
Getting better with age, you know, like wine.
Yes, yes.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Yamaha. Reliability starts here. Fenwick, the Florida Keys and Key West. Come as you are. The IGFA, Fish for the World. Noble Air Charters, raising the bar yet again. Sportsman's Adventures with Captain Rick Murphy, fishing for adventure. Real Legends, everything you need to live life local. And Taco Marine, troll the edge.
It's one of the most ancient forms of hide and seek known to man. And nobody knows how to play the fishing game better than the backcountry guides and offshore captains of the Florida Keys and Key West. Ready or not, here we come.
At Florida Coast Equipment, we understand you don't work banker's hours, so neither do we. You have a business to run, you have a family to feed, and you need your machine up and running. So our service team and our parts department will be there. If that means we have to stay late, we'll do it. If we have to start early, we'll do it. Because at the end of the day, you want equipment you can depend on and people you can trust, and we have a service team that will be there to service you.
Pump up the performance in all of your engines. Kick your gas into gear with StarTron.
I'm Captain Rick Murphy, and I'm a life member of CCA. Why am I so involved with CCA, you ask? Because I want our fisheries to be in better shape for my kids and their kids. CCA is working to ensure the future of recreational fisheries and the rights of recreational anglers. The future of fishing starts today with you. How do you want to leave things with your kids? If you're like me, you'll want to make the right choice and go to joinccaflorida.com right now. Today's Power Pole tip is about the warranty and the service. Now, Power Pole is owned and operated, family owned and operated, and guys, I want to tell you, with that in mind, that's one of the reasons why they have the best customer service and warranty program of any company in the industry. They want to make sure that your Power Pole experience every single day is flawless. The thing that I like is that you can troubleshoot your problems through the Sea Monster app. But if you're not able to figure out the problem yourself, they want you to call. So we have a 1-800 number that you can call, and they'll answer that phone call and try to troubleshoot the problem while you're out on the water. If you're not able to, then they'll recommend you to go to a local dealer. They will get in contact with the dealer to make sure that you have no problems whatsoever. The reason why Power Pole is such a great product is certainly they stand behind their product. They want you to have a great experience, and that's one of the single most important parts of their business model. If you have any questions about Power Pole, you can go to powerpole.com, and that's today's Power Pole tip of the week. In today's world, the
Yes.
service orientation is just gone. You go to a big store somewhere, you can't ever find anybody to help
Yeah.
you. But guess what?
What?
What I love about PowerPole is that they're standing by to help you troubleshoot any problems or to answer just a simple question,
Yeah,
maybe
it's
about what
important.
product you should get as a retool, or maybe that you want to buy something new.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I love.
Yeah, customer service is everything, and they actually look like fishermen that
They are
have
fishermen.
been
They know
in the
how to
predicament.
best sell you the product for your needs. Keep that in mind.
Ooh, that's a good one.
That's good.
All right. In the Fish Bites East region, the southeast warm winds bring the bait from offshore to the beach, which is always a pleasant sight. So let's talk with Captain Mike Holliday on how we can take advantage of this bait situation.
You know, Brie, that's true. Our winter winds are sort of northeast, and once we get to this time of year, we hit that southeast breeze. That brings all that bait from offshore, brings it in on the beach. We're already seeing Spanish sardines, threadfins, and pilchards on the beaches. We're seeing throughout the region. In the deep water, you want to target these species with a number 6 R&R sabiki rig. And they're cool because they have 4 red and 4 green bugs on them. So you'll get the bite no matter what color the baits are preferring that day. In the clear water, you want to go with a fluorocarbon sabiki rig. You'll get more bites that way, particularly with sardines. And once those baits get up on the beach or they move inside in the river or in the intercoastal, you can throw a 3/8 or a 5/16 inch mesh 10-foot Calusa cast net. That's what I throw is a 10-footer. You can go bigger, you can go smaller, whatever you're comfortable with. Other good baits you'll find offshore right now are goggle eyes, blue runners. You can bug those up using the larger R&R sabikis. We also have spring runs of mullet and Atlantic menhaden going on right now. And that's going on the beaches and inshore. Both of those species are herbivores, so you can't use a sabiki rig to catch them. You have to throw a cast net. And then also on the flats are sand perch, pinfish, pigfish. And you can use traps baited with squid, or you can hook and line them with small pieces of like a shrimp flavored fish bites. Those are really nice because they stay on and you can just pluck till your live well's full. So let's talk about the second species. The snook bite remains strong. There's a lot of small fish around the inlets, and the larger fish seem to be around the bridges, the seawalls, and the docks. We're almost on that new moon right now, so expect extreme low tides this weekend, and that'll concentrate the fish in the deeper water areas. There's been a big fish bite in Taylor Creek up in Fort Pierce. That bite's been on live mullet and on mullet plugs, just slow trolled in the creek. There's also been some nice fish coming off the Palm City Bridge at night for the guys that are throwing flare hawks on these windy nights. Around the inlets, you want to target the fish with a shrimp and jig combination or a saltwater assassin copper juice colored 4-inch sea shad. This is also a good time to throw topwater plugs along the seawalls and docks right at first light, and then as the light gets up, throw live mullet. Or you can fish the dock lights at night with small minnow flies and do pretty well, mostly on small fish. Right now the average snook's 6 to 15 pounds, but I got a photo there. That's Tara and Brandon Bobolek. They caught that nice slot snook fishing with Captain Cody Rubner, and that fish ate a live mullet.
All right, Holiday, what we got going on offshore, bud?
Well, this is the prime time for the kingfish in my region. It's as good as it gets. The fish are spread out from the Vero Cove all the way down to Boynton Inlet. There's schools of kings that are moving between Stewart and Jupiter, the 6 Mile Reef, the Sand Pile, the Loran Tower Ledge, the edge of the reef off Jupiter. They're all top spots right now for kingfish. That being said, the Spanish sardines have landed in Palm Beach County. So if you can find a Spanish sardine school anywhere in Palm Beach on the beach, you found the kingfish. For bait, anything from a sardine to a threadfin to a pilchard to a mullet, a blue runner, a goggle eye, all those will work. Kings are notorious for biting the tails off the bait. So most of the anglers in my region target them with a number 4 wire stinger rig. So if you get the bite, you get that back hook. But if they miss the back hook, just drop your bait back and the fish will swing back around and grab the rest of the bait and give you another shot at hooking it. The average king right now is 12 to 20 pounds. We're seeing them up to about 40 pounds. I have a photo. There's a nice beach fish that Curtis Bishop caught. He caught that drifting a live threadfin around a bait school. The other bite going, the mangrove snapper bite's been amazing along the reefs in 65 to 75 feet of water off of St. Lucie and Martin counties. The best action's been along the reef lines and ledges from the 6 Mile Reef, like all the way up to Bethel Shoal. So it's pretty spread out. The largest fish are coming at night, but there's plenty of action during the daytime, particularly if you have a north current and you can anchor up and chum with chunk chum, and then just slide your bait back into it. Target the fish with sardines, pilchards, cigar minnows, small pinfish if you can get them, small sand perch if you can get them. You can also use grunt plugs or ballyhoo plugs and just free line them back into the chum line or drop them back on a jig head. The average mangrove snapper right now is 3 to 5 pounds with fish to 10 pounds in the mix. I have a photo there. This is one fish out of a limited snapper caught in 75 feet of water off Stewart by Chris Foster. He was fishing with Captain Jonathan Earhart, and that fish ate a Spanish sardine on a jig head.
All right, Mike, give us a bass report this week.
Well, the dry season will end any day now, but you can still take advantage of the low water levels in the Sawgrass Recreation Area and Holiday Park. Anglers right now are averaging 40 to 50 bass a morning and being off by, like 11 o'clock in the morning. The fish are concentrated in the canals, they're around the culverts, the bridges, and the airboat trails. Really what you want to look for anywhere there's moving water, or anywhere there's a congregation or a point. Start your day throwing topwater plugs or a pink or owlwife colored 6-inch Bass Assassin twitch worm. Rig it Senko style, fish it along the shoreline vegetation. Give it 2 twitches, let it fall, 2 twitches, let it fall. You'll kill the bass. Most of those fish are in the 1 to 3 pound class. If you're looking for a big fish, you want to get off the edge of the canals and fish those lily pad fields with a logger toad or any type of frog style bait, or rig a June bug colored worm, rig it weedless, drag it across the top. That's where you'll get that 5 or 6 pounder right now. And that's going to go on until really we start seeing the rains.
All right, thank you so much, Hollywood. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the T&H Marine hotspots from the East region, bud.
Thanks, Mike.
All right, inshore, topwater plugs or live mullet on the snook on the seawalls of the intercoastal waterways north to Hobe Sound, bridges. The bite is early, don't forget that. And then offshore, sailfish in 110 feet of water off of St. Lucie Power Plant, troll ballyhoo, or thread fins on a kite. It's gonna work for those dudes.
All right, well, we're just about finished here on the Florida Insider Fishing Report, and it's been bait. Can't believe I'm saying that.
Oh.
But we're always on the hunt for our next species, so stay hooked, and we'll tell you what we're fishing for next week. We'll be right back.
Can't wait.
The best jokes ever.
For the bait.
For the bait.
Your time on the water is precious. You return season after season to make unforgettable memories, fight a few fish, reconnect with friends, and recenter yourself. If you count on having this time, you need an outboard you can count on to power it. That's why boaters stay with Yamaha for the long run, for life. They know reliability starts here.
We are for those who know that opportunity is nothing without preparation. Those who know that the right gear can make or break a day. Born out of a need for reliability, tested and proven on the Miss Brit Charter fleet. From terminal tackle to all your live bait needs, whether you're fishing for fun or looking to win a tournament, R&R Tackle has what you need to stay ready.
All right, next week we are talking all about the trout.
All about the trout.
All about the trout. So make sure you tune in. And you know what? We've got a congratulations in order.
Congratulations, Dave.
This guy.
That was a monster.
It was a monster.
That's a monster whiting, 1.36.
And where did you catch it? Were you
I
in
caught
a
it in
tournament?
Play Linda in a tournament, Florida surf casting tournament. I caught it in Play Linda first thing in the morning. Then I had to drive to Jacksonville to weigh it. Because once I caught it, it was the first fish I caught, and I go, oh man, I'm gonna have to drive to Jacksonville to weigh this thing because it was a big one.
Congrats, Dave. It's about to keep you
On your
around.
Alvy.
My
Thanks
Alvy,
for tuning in,
sure.
guys. We'll see you
Nice.
next week for Chat.
Tripped.